Well, we welcome back you on Mad About Markets with a wonderful runway and a plane that's just about to land, because that is the plane that will tell us the yays and mays of the aviation sector. And as always, I'll go with the yays. The biggest yay, of course, is that for a brimming passenger airline industry, you need passengers. And do we have a lot of them? Of course, the world's most populous country.
Yes, we do, but we also have to deal with a lot of suboptimal infrastructure, which is a big may for the industry.
It is indeed a big may, but at the same time, while we're talking about the world's largest population, we're also talking about the world's largest population which hasn't flown.
Yeah.
Only 1% of India's population accounts for nearly half of all the passengers that take to the planes or the flights. So obviously there's a large untapped potential there.
There is a large untapped potential with the passengers, but it's not the same story when it comes to skilled professionals, because you need to have licensed professionals to run a lot of these businesses, and there's a real shortage on that front.
There is a real shortage of pilots and a lot of support staff as well. So I take your point on that. But at the same time, a lot of people also looking to grow their demand because middle class income is increasing. This is something that we talk about on Mad About Markets very often, and that's a big yay.
But you know what, like many other industries, the aviation industry has also been hit by supply chain issues. So whether it is the delay in aircraft delivery, etc., that's a huge issue that the industry is currently grappling with.
I hope they smoothen that turbulence out over the next couple of years. But the question is that where do people go once they take the plane, right?
Yeah.
But now on that, the government has said that this budget, they said tourism is on a war footing. Let's develop tourism potential, drawing more travelers, not just domestic, but international too.
Well, they are, but for these airlines to fly those passengers that are coming in from everywhere, there are high fuel taxes. And these have not come down in a while. Even though we've had some respite, taxes have not come down. That has been a big ask of the industry.
Let's hope they do come down, because increasingly we are seeing a lot of share of low-cost carriers, which is making flying a lot more affordable. So on the one hand, you have a large potential. You have people whose incomes are rising. There are a lot of destinations which are being developed, and low-cost carriers which will take people to those destinations.
But this highly price-sensitive market, that also is a concern, as is the high entry and growth barriers. Like we've been saying, it's not easy to do business in aviation in India.
It isn't, and let's hope that there is liberalization of global flying rights. If that happens, then that will prove to be a major tailwind, pun unintended.
Well, currently you need to have 20 aircraft to be able to fly, but it all boils down to how profitable airlines are, and not very many can say that they are. On that note, actually, let me invite back our guest who's been with us to tell us about what, how Akasa is really faring. Mr. Dubey, the overall industry is still posting a loss, and there are exceptions, like we said, with Indigo. Why do you think it's so hard to make money in the business, and what are the biggest challenges from your point of view?
I'll go back to my former employer, Delta Airlines, that made multi-billion dollars worth of profit each year, or certainly in many years, hundreds of millions of dollars worth of profit between the year 2010 and 2019. So 10 years continuously. And they weren't the only ones. We had Southwest Airlines, we had Alaska Airlines, we had Spirit, we had multiple airlines in the US that made money for several years together between the year 2010 and 2019. And that streak would have continued except for this black swan event called COVID. So I'd like to say that in other parts of the world, and it will be the same in India as aviation matures, for it not to be difficult to make money. Secondly, how does one go about making money? I think it's sort of very easy to talk about government taxes and government this and government that. I will tell you that that's a level playing field for everyone. And those kinds of environments that, environmental factors that we operate in, it's no different for one airline compared to the other, yet one airline makes money and another doesn't. So I'd say we should avoid trying to pin a particular airline's bankruptcy or particular airline's financial results on the government. I think they're doing a heck of a lot to actually promote aviation in the country. I think they're doing a lot to make aviation easier, but more than anything, it's a level playing field for everyone. So I think what really separates one airline from the other is the quality of their management team.
All right, quality of the management team, and perhaps some legacy costs as well, which make a lot more airlines more difficult to be profitable than the newer ones, which may not have legacy costs. But points well made. Let's talk about the bigger question then. Now, do we have clear skies for takeoff? Vinay, what's your take?
The skies are clear. I will put that in context. And the reason I want to put that in context is because on the one side, I am tempted to say unequivocally yes for the next 30 years. The skies are absolutely clear, unequivocally for the next 30 years. I told you there's no one that's more bullish about, Indian aviation than me. But I want to take a minute to talk about the kind of hardships employees go through when something bad happens to a particular airline. And for their sake, I don't want to talk about the fact that everything is hunky-dory, because we've got a set of employees that will get affected badly should something untoward happen to one or more airlines. And I just want to say that my heart certainly goes out to them, and I would hope that we at Akasa, given our growth, can be a home for many of these employees, because those are the ones that really suffer the most, when things don't go right for airlines. And so I want to really balance those two emotions here.
Clear skies for the next 30 years, and a noble gesture of offering jobs to all those who would have lost their jobs in the current kerfuffle that the aviation industry is going through as well. Thanks a lot, Mr. Dubey, for joining in. In fact, on that note, we'll also thank Mayur for joining in and giving us his thoughts. Hope you had a good flight. See you next week. Don't go anywhere.